Hello, it's Oren Prunkin, and today I want to talk to you about traditional versus digital advertising. I'm going to take a bit of a different tact with this. So the other day, about a week ago, I was driving in my car down Semaphore and Port Adelaide Way, and I was just going to my destination. I looked out on the right-hand side and there was a big billboard there. It was in a really prominent location, so lots of eyeballs would have been seeing it. And I had a thought around the difference between traditional and digital advertising and communication. And there's going to be an endless debate on which one is better than the other. Now, I don't really think about it in terms of which is better than the other. They all serve different purposes. Now, and that's going to probably be an episode, a different episode and a longer nuanced episode around that. But it got me thinking about that debate. And then when I looked over at the billboard, I noticed what the ad was and who the ad was from. So I'm going to give a big shout out to Cooper's Brewery, Cooper's Beer, a brewery that's been around for more than, I think, about 150 years in South Australia, Adelaide based, my hometown. And they had one of their ads, and I love their ads, but the thing, and I'm going to go into that in a little bit, but the thing about the advertisement that they created was that, for example, beer doesn't actually appeal to a lot of people. It's, anyone over 18 is in the market for purchasing that. Obviously, there's going to be people underage that consume beer, but just their market, and we're talking about marketing here, is, an 18 plus demographic. But not a lot of adults drink alcohol, not a lot of adults drink beer. So, it's not a niche market, but it's a pretty specific product for a specific type of person. Now, and this is where I was going with my thinking around traditional versus digital and the ability that you have to target very specific people in when you use digital channels. But that didn't really apply to how Coopers, in this instance, advertise, nor how they've done it over, for the longest time that I can remember. Now, this ad was, I think it was 5 or 6 of their beer cans, all of the different types of product displayed as a photo, and then the caption was in quotations, "because we can," and it was a play on words. And Cooper's, so it was memorable, right? And I'm actually talking about it now, and this kind of gets to the point of this episode. Cooper's does a lot of play on words. They use words and phrases to have dual meanings. And they also do a lot of social commentary. One of my favorite Cooper's ads, and this is, again, I'm going to reveal the punchline in a minute. This is where I'm going with this episode, is one of my favorite, and that's the key word around this episode, is that I think it was 2016, they created an ad as a social commentary in relation to an event that happened in Adelaide. So there is a competing brewery called West End, and my understanding is West End is owned by a Japanese brewery, Japanese company Kirin, and they have their premises on the Torrens River. And in 2016, so 4 years ago, the Torrens River flooded, and it flooded at the time that West End puts on an annual Christmas light. So they put on this Christmas light show, and they've done it for all of my life, 30 plus years. They've always done this, and kids go down at Christmas time and they look at all the lights, and there's all these fairy tales, such as like Moby Dick. And I mention Moby Dick because the Torrens flooded, and it flooded so much that the Moby Dick display got upended and floated down the Torrens, and someone took a photo of it, and I'm not sure if it was Cooper's or not, but Cooper's captioned this on many of their advertisements. And I'll probably get the wording incorrect, but the gist of it was, if you were a whale, you would want to swim away from a Japanese brewery. Obviously, Japanese have been notorious, however you want to describe it, for fishing whale blubber, and it's been quite controversial. So they did, a really, really brilliant social commentary on that as well. So Coopers have always been known for doing plays on words like "because we can," but also social commentary. And where I'm going with this is, if your product, and you're doing traditional particularly, doesn't appeal to a mass market or to everyone, you've got to really be able to create communications that get a pass along effect. So that obviously I get an emotional reaction from these, like it's really funny or whatever that emotional reaction is for other people, but there's an emotional reaction, it's memorable. This is stuck in my head for 4 years, right? That ad I just talked about, but also it's remarkable, it has the ability for people to remark on it. Obviously that's the definition of the word. And here I am creating a whole podcast episode on the remarkability or the talkability of that ad. So let's just pretend I don't drink beer, nor do I drink alcohol. Let's just pretend that's a true statement. Here I am commenting on something, a communication that is a product ad, a buy me now ad, and I'm talking about it to other people. So they've gone above and beyond what that original ad was supposed to do, target someone in a demographic that is a purchaser. And you know, for traditional media especially, the ability to go from paid media, paid advertisement, to earned media, you know, talkability, is, you know, kind of the holy grail, as well as just doing product sales based on the ads. But if you can move it beyond into that earned media, you are getting so much more leverage on the communication as well. Now, my understanding is the ad agency that does it is KWP locally in Adelaide, and it's just a phenomenal ad that a lot can be learnt about how they communicate that product to wider audiences, and how they tackle traditional in, you know, a world where digital is seen to be everything, and reviving and actually showing the value in things that happen in the traditional world that can be useful, and sparking, you know, probably endless more debates on is traditional better than digital, or is digital better than traditional. So I want you to have a think about this lesson of the two things, right? So that what I just mentioned, the debate between two different channels and mediums, but also what the communication is within that, the content within that communication is. How are you creating an emotional reaction within consumers that creates, you know, positive memories, but also talkability and remarkability, that they can go out and talk to people and pass on and share your product even if they are not in the market. Really, really cool advertising and communication that Coopers and their agency have done. So I want you to think about how this could work for you and what you're doing. That's all I wanted to talk to you about today. So until we talk next time, I'd love you to hit me up with some comments or feedback, either publicly or privately. I love hearing from people. And until we talk next time, I hope you have a fantastic day, and goodbye.
Thanks for listening, and if you like what was on here and want more, please go to orenprunken.com.